We're getting crafty today with Amy Latta, not here in our studio, but from her home. Her craft, super practical and possibly life-saving. I chatted with her remotely.
Well, Amy, it is great to see you again, even if it is through the internet. How have you and your family been doing?
We're doing pretty well. You know, the whole schooling from home has been interesting, but we're making it.
For sure. Now, let's talk about masks. That's what we're going to talk about today, because we all by now have heard about the shortage of face masks, especially in the hospital and medical system. And you and your mom started to do something about that. What did you do?
Yes, so we started to see that there was a demand for it, and I've got several friends who are nurses at some of the Maryland hospitals, and my next door neighbor manages an assisted living facility, and all of them, all of a sudden, were like, we don't have enough, we need something, and the hospitals started to accept homemade masks, so they were asking if there was a way that we could help provide that for them. So my mom and I both have a sewing machine and tons of scrap fabric, so in our own homes, we just started making homemade masks that they could wear. Obviously, they're not surgical grade, but they're better than nothing. And you know, the one that we're going to look at today has a little pocket that you can put a disposable filter in. So it does provide a little bit of extra protection.
So what I hear is we can use these to help solve that problem, but also for our own family safety. And you do have two different versions. You're going to show us that one you just talked about today.
Right, so on my website I have two different patterns. One is pretty much the standard one that you've been seeing all over the internet, and it has some interfacing in it, but then my neighbor who manages the assisted living facility specifically asked if we could make one that had a pocket, because her staff wanted to be able to put in like HVAC filter or even a coffee filter can go in there, and then you can dispose of it each time you wear it, wash the mask, and then put a new filter inside.
That is really smart. A coffee filter. Never would have thought of something like that. So show us how you're doing that.
Okay, so pretty simple. If you have a sewing machine and some scrap fabric, you're probably good to go. All you need for one mask is a 9x12 piece of fabric. As long as it's cotton, it's good to go. It can be any kind of print or color. So you're just going to cut it to 9x12. Then you're going to fold it in half so that it's 9x6. And across the top, you're going to sew a seam, but you're going to leave about 3 inches of an opening so that you can turn it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to kind of open it up and make that seam in the center. This is where the opening, the little pocket for the filter is going to go. So we're going to press that seam open. You can use either heat, like an iron, or you can use your fingernails and just kind of press that open. So this is what it should look like. And then we have to add some straps. Ideally, if you have like 1/4 inch elastic, it's perfect. This is a little thinner because it was all I could get right now. You can also, I made a bunch of these using hair ties, like, you know, the ponytail holders. Get some of those, cut it in half. This has to be 7 inches, and most of those ponytail holders work just perfectly. So what you'll do is take whatever you're using as your elastic, and you're going to tuck it down inside this little side pocket and pin it at the top and the bottom. And you're going to do that on each side. Then you're going to sew a seam just to hold that in place. And we're going to use our opening to turn everything right side out. So this is what you'll get. On one side, it's going to be the solid fabric. And on the other side, in the center, we have this magic little pocket. And this is where you can slide something in really easily. The last thing that you have to do is we're going to take this fabric from the top and from the bottom, and we're going to fold up to the center to make pleats. And then you're just going to pin that in place and sew it on the sides so that the pleats stay. And this is what you get. And you can see that it opens up to cover your nose and mouth.
Now tell folks about where we can actually watch this again and get the step-by-step instructions.
Okay, so on my website, if you go to amylattacreations.com and scroll underneath of my picture, you'll see As Seen on TV, and you'll see a picture of these masks. And then you'll also see a link to the other style of mask if you prefer that kind. And you can click, there's step-by-step photos. I know I have to see something to be able to do it. So you can see the photos of what it should look like at each step.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out to talk with us and for sharing this with the audience. And again, really just lovely to see you again.
You too. I miss you all so much.